Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. What we were discussing now last was the major state of impurity and how to cleanse ourselves from the major state of impurity. That was by taking the ritual bath. Then we mentioned that there was the major state and the minor state. So in the major state, a person was unable to recite any Quran. One is unable to enter into the masjid. He cannot touch a copy of Quran, and a female was unable to even have marital intercourse. Now when it comes to the minor state now, the minor state requires the minor form of ablution, which takes place, like we've got our ablution blocks here in the masjid. So this is the minor type now. In the minor state, what a person is, it's not permissible for a person to do is to perform the prayer, to perform any salah. Alright? So we need to make the wudhu, take the ablution before performing the salah. A person cannot perform the janaza prayers as well. We'll discuss what is the janaza prayers. That is the prayer that we make for as a means of supplicating for the dead. A person cannot touch a copy of Quran. So like a person could not touch it in the state, in the major state, in the minor state as well. A person is unable, it's not permissible for a person to touch a copy of Quran. Almighty Allah mentions, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون, that only those who are pure can touch a copy of Quran. And then the tawaf of the Kaaba as well, a person is unable to do when in the minor state of impurity. What a person could do when a person is not in the major state of impurity, but in the minor state of impurity, meaning he needs to make the wudhu, then he can recite Quran from memory. So we mentioned you cannot recite Quran when you're in the major state of impurity, but in the minor state we can recite the Quran. We can recite any supplications, du'as, that is when entering into the toilet, exiting the toilet, all those du'as we can recite. Then we can even enter into the masjid. So now we can be in the masjid, perhaps we do not have wudu, we in the state of the minor state of impurity, we can't be in the masjid. And there is no real harm in not being impure, or not being pure, meaning being in the minor state of impurity. So if a person continues a few hours but are not making the wudu, there's no harm in that. However, the best and the most preferable is that a person is in the state of wudu at all times. So we mentioned when it was with regards to the major state, then it is not correct for a person to unnecessarily be in that impure state. But when it comes to the minor state, then it is fine, even if a person does not immediately make the wudu. We discuss what the compulsory aspects related to washing. We'll first discuss the wudu itself, the ablution, and thereafter discuss what breaks it and other aspects as well. So the first compulsory aspect is that the person needs to wash his face. So the entire face, from the hairline until below the chin, and from one earlobe until the next earlobe. Alright? So here's something important, like a person who's got a thick beard, then we do not have hair behind here. Alright? We need to make sure that part is also wet. So right through, from earlobe to earlobe, from the hairline to below the chin. This is for males as well as females right through. Then a person needs to wash the hands, including the elbows. So the entire hand until the elbow you need to wash. This is all one time, to make sure that there's not a single portion, not a single hair that is left dry. The third is to pass a wet hand on quarter of the head. So this is called the masah, right? So what we will do is to pass a wet hand over a quarter of the head. So even if it's just until here, so just the quarter of the head. The sunnah is the entire head, that we will discuss, but just a quarter of the head that is necessary. And then to wash the feet, including the ankles. Making sure that the heels are wet. That is something that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had mentioned specifically regarding that. Make sure that your heels are wet. So it's not that one. Sometimes we find that we place our feet on the wall or on the basin and then we wash our feet. What happens by that is perhaps the bottom could not get wet. So we should make sure we wet the entire foot. So these are the compulsory aspects which we should make sure that we have covered. A person shouldn't suffice on these. Making a compulsory wudu, a compulsory ablution, is only at the time when there's very little water, or if a person is in an extreme rush, then he could do that. He could just make the fard compulsory ablution. But now we go on to the perfect ablution, which is in the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first is that in the Hanafi school of thought, we do not need to have an intention. So in the Shafi'i madhab, in the Shafi'i school of thought, a person needs to know, I'm making wudu, and make the ablution. According to the Hanafi school of thought, if the 5 compulsory aspects are completed, even without the intention, his wudu is still completed. So if a person jumps into a swimming pool, and thereafter comes out, his head got wet, his feet, his hands are all wet, and his face, so his wudu is completed. But when it comes to the Shafi'i school of thought, you need to have the intention. Then what do? We first wash our hands 3 times up to the wrist, right? So we can wash the right hand 3 times up to the wrist, and thereafter the left hand up to the wrist 3 times. We may use detergents as well, we might use soap, there's no problem with that. So we can wash until the rest 3 times. Then we rinse our mouth. Rinsing our mouth, we put water into the mouth 3 times. Gargling is a sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. So it's not just placing the water into the mouth, but making the gargling is also a sunnah. And that is a means of, it's an antiseptic as well, and a means of cleansing a person's throat as well. So that is a sunnah. Then is the miswak. We will discuss more regarding the miswak, but this is one of the times that we could use the miswak. The miswak could be either used before the commencement of the wudu, at the end of the wudu, or at the stamia. This is one of the times that when gargling the mouth we also use a miswak. We will discuss what is the miswak itself and more aspects related to that. Then we cleanse the nose. Cleansing the nose, you cup your hand, fill water into it, and take it into the nostrils. Then we put water with the right hand and we cleanse it with the left hand. So cleansing it by removing all the dirt from the nose with the left hand and put the water in with the right hand. So that is the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what we did so far, we washed our hands until the wrist, we gargled the mouth, we cleansed our nose, all three times. Now you wash the face 3 times. So it was compulsory to wash it at least once, but we wash it 3 times here is the sunnah. More than that, more than 3 times is disliked in the Sharia. It could even fall under wastage of water as well. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us 3 times, and we stick to that 3 times. If a person is doubting that perhaps I didn't wash a certain portion, then we can do 1 more time. However, by the first time, every part of the face should be washed, and the second and third time should just be an addition to that. Then an important thing is, especially in the mornings when we wake up, we've got eye mucus, right? So you wake up and you might have eye mucus. If we just going to take the water, splash it onto the face without really wiping our face, that eye mucus will not come out. So we need to wipe our face, making sure everything which prevents the water from touching the face, the skin, is removed. So the eye mucus, we should also make sure that comes out. And then also, that as well. With regards to the ghusl, then what you do is you cleanse it and you wash your face. Then also with regards to the inner part of the lips. So as you just like normal, the person's mouth is closed normally, then the lip should get wet, the outer part. The inner parts don't have to get wet. But if a person closes it tight, if a person closes one's lips tight and then makes a wudu, there's a small portion that is not getting wet. So make sure that a person's lips are in a normal position. Then to wash the face. The more aspects related to washing the face is the outer surface of the face needs to be wet. Right? The entire outer surface. Alright, so we mentioned even the lips included there, even the one's eyelids. This is all part of the outer part of a person's face. So the inside, the gargling of the mouth is not a fard, it's not compulsory. Alright, the flowing strands. Now when it comes to a person with a beard now, what do we do is all those portions that are attached to the face. So like you're seeing me now, all the portions attached to the face, that the outer part needs to be wet. It needs to be wet. This part, portions here, right? Whatever is flowing does not need to be wet. So this part here does not need to be wet. But whatever is attached to the face definitely needs to be wet, the outer portion at least. If a person's beard is thin, if you can see the skin, then the skin and the strands need to be wet. If a person's beard is thick, also the parts of the beard that are thick. So like particularly, my example is, the men are seeing me, is that there are certain parts of my beard that we can see the skin. So there, the skin needs to be wet. But certain parts where it's thicker, then you cannot see the skin. So there, the outer part of the beard needs to be wet. We do not need to get to the skin. We mentioned also behind the beard. Behind the beard, there's this portion that of skin that needs to get wet as well, because that's also part of the face. It's before the earlobes. So that is with regards to the compulsory thing. Compulsory is that we should wash the outer portion, and the whatever's flowing does not need to get wet. And then is the sunnah of the khilal, passing a wet hand through the beard. So after we wash the face, then what do? Is we pass a wet hand from under the beard. Right? So from under the beard. So we washed our face, we now pass from under the beard, we pass a wet hand. So that is a sunnah which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did. That's just done once. Are there any questions on that? Like we're seeing on this picture here, we've got this sparse area. The sparse area, that part there, the skin needs to be wet. But where the thicker part is, the person doesn't need to get that part wet. Now after washing the face, we now go on to the hands. We wash the hands, we washed the wrist already, the hands until the wrist, but now we washed our arms, including the elbows. And this is done 3 times. The sunnah way of doing it is like we see in the picture there above us. We cup our hands, we place water in our hands, and thereafter we tilt it. We place water in our hands, and we tilt it, letting water flow, including the elbows, and we wash it. So in the first time, we should make sure that the entire hand is completely washed, there's not a single hair dry. Thereafter we do for the second and for the third time, also making sure that it does get covered. Sorry. Then importance here that we do save the water, and an important aspect here is that there's something called ma musta'mal, used water. Now water that is already used for wudu, it is impermissible for a person to use that for wudu again. So what happens now is we got a bucket of water. If I place my hand inside, with the intention of wudu, I place my hand inside and I take it out. Okay, I wash my hand now. What happens? That entire bucket of water is all used water. So now I cannot use it to wash any more parts of my body. Right? When does the water become used, regarded it is used? The moment it drips off a person's body. The moment it drips off. Alright? So when we made wudu now, we put water and we wiped it. Alright? So that wasn't, the water that we poured, we don't regard it as used once it reaches the elbow, because it did not get off the body. The moment it got off the body, that's when it's regarded as used water. So we told it, that's fine, there's no problem with that. But again, here important that, like you mentioned, that's it's a mistake that we have seen, that people have a bucket, you place your hand inside, that entire water is now used water, we cannot use it again. Then another sunnah here related to that is the passing of the fingers, khilal of the fingers once. So you washed your entire hand, right? Now what do? You make khilal, like this here. Placing the right fingers into the left fingers and the left fingers into the right fingers. So the benefit of that is that you're making sure that water did go between the fingers. So that is another sunnah. Then masah of the head, the passing of a wet hand over the head. What do? You pass the little finger, the ring finger and the middle finger of both the hands from hairline to the back of the head. This is for males and females. So we bring our two hands together, our middle finger, our small fingers, our ring finger and the middle finger. We bring them together. We're keeping our index finger and thumb out, and you pass it over the head. So we're starting off from the front. So we take it from the front and we take it till the back. So now what did we use? We used these three fingers. Our small finger, ring finger and middle fingers. We brought them together, we went till the back. Right? Once we're at the back now we use our palms. With the palm we come forward on the side of our head. Alright? We came forward the side of the head. So now we use these three fingers, we use the palms. We've got still our index finger and the thumb remaining. So with the index finger now, what we're going to do is, we're going to make khilal of the ears, or clean the ears. So the sunnah way, or the way explained by the ulama, the fuqaha, is that we start off from the earlobe. We start off from the earlobe, we go through, right through, and we end off in the ear. And if there's any dirt, we take it down. So we do that once, starting off from the earlobe, going through. Then we have our thumb, and we go at the back of our ears. We're cleaning the back of our ears. And thereafter, now we'll use our entire hand. We use these three fingers. We use our index finger on our ears. We use our thumb behind the ears. We use the palms coming back on the side of our head. Now we just have the back of our hands. That we will now wipe our napes. So wipe our nape, the side of our necks. We'll wipe that section. So now we use the entire hand. Here, after washing after washing the hand, one's hands and fingers will be wet. So we do not need to wet the fingers. You don't need to re-wet it because it's already moist, and we can make masah. And then finally, the last part of wudu is that we wash the feet 3 times. We use the left hand to wash our feet, and we make khilal of the toes. So you're washing 3 times, making sure that the heels are all wet, and we make khilal of the toes. We mentioned khilal of the fingers, right? We mentioned khilal of the beard, and we mentioned khilal of now the toes, so which is passing a wet hand. The way to do that is, we insert one's fingers between the toes. We use the the small finger of one's left hand, and we start off from the little toe of a person's left foot. So we start from the left foot, right through till the right foot. So this is after we wash our feet. So this was the practical wudu, and this is the wudu that we should be making according to the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.